Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight for our Village of Alsip board meeting. Today is May 20th, 2024, and we'll call this meeting in order at 7:31 p.m. Can you call the roll, please?
Trustee Dalzell?
Here.
Trustee Juarez Mendoza is absent. Trustee McLaughlin? Here. Trustee Murphy?
Here.
Trustee Navas-Barza? Here. Trustee Peretta is absent. Mayor Ryan?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll start with our officers' reports, starting with mine. First on your agenda this evening was the approval of an ordinance granting a special use permit to allow the use and operation of a beer garden for a portion of the property located at 11525 South Pulaski in Alsip. Second on my report would be the proclamation for National Public Works Week, which encompasses May 19th through May 25th, 2024. I'd like to read this into the record. This year, the National Public Work Week proclamation theme is known as Advancing Quality of Life for All, whereas public works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities and to the public health, high quality of life, and well-being of the people of the Village of Alsip. And whereas these infrastructure facilities and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of public works professionals who are engineers, managers, and employees at all levels of government and the private sector, who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supply, water treatment, and solid waste systems, public buildings, and other structures and facilities essential for our citizens. And whereas it is in the public interest for citizens, civic leaders, and children in the Village of Alsip to gain knowledge of and maintain an ongoing interest in understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs in their respective communities. Whereas in the year 2024 marks the 64th annual National Public Works Week, sponsored by the American Public Works Association and the Canadian Public Works Association, be it now resolved, I, Mayor John Ryan, do hereby designate the week of May 19th through the 25th of 2024 as National Public Works Week. I urge all citizens to join with representatives of the American Public Works Association and the government agencies in activities, events, and ceremonies designed to pay tribute to our public works professionals, engineers, managers, and employees to recognize the substantial contributions they make to protecting our national health, safety, and advancing quality of life for all. In witness hereof, I hereunto set my hand and cause the seal to be affixed. Done this day, May 20th, 2024. So, Mike, it's a nice recognition of your department, and certainly we always thank you for the hard work and efforts on your behalf then, too. Right before the meeting, Mike was sharing some pictures. Today's storm was pretty intense, and there was a pretty good-sized tree. Where was that, Mike? 122nd and what? Springfield. I mean, this thing was huge. It came right out of the ground and stuff then, too. So, and I'm glad nobody got hurt. It's always the most important thing and stuff yet, too. So, again, Mike, please, congratulations, and we'll have the clerk post this as well, too, okay? So. And then I just want to report to everyone, too, that last Wednesday I did make a trip down to Springfield with 5 other South Suburban mayors in the interest of meeting. We met with probably over a dozen legislators, both senators and state reps, to discuss the need for them to understand that villages such as ours can't afford to take another financial hit, whether it's the local government distributive fund that's marginally been increased. It should be at 10%. We're only at 6.5% of those monies that come back to our village every year. And this year, it might even happen this week, Governor Pritzker is going to ask the legislators to approve his fiscal year 25 budget that will include an omnibus bill that's tied to it, meaning that there's a plan to eliminate the grocery tax I've been talking about here. So the village of Alsip stands to lose almost $670,000 a year in grocery monies. These monies are basically just a pass-through for the state of Illinois, and the governor is proposing that Illinois join 37 other states that don't have grocery taxes of 1%. Again, it's a pass-through for the government, and they're proposing not to be collector anymore. And again, the impact to our community is such. Nearby communities like Oak Lawn are going to lose approximately $2.2 million a year. Orland Park stands to lose about $2.5 a year. Schaumburg, $3.4 million, and it's certainly the city of Chicago stands to lose almost $60 to $80 million a year if this gets approved. So it's really in everyone's best interest, our interest, that our legislators vote against this, but I don't know that they will, because ultimately the governor holds a veto power to ask them to do it again. So I'm not sure how far this is going to go. We'll see what happens. We'll move on to our reports. Next is the Clerk Harding's report.
Thank you, Mayor. I have the approval of the April 2024 FOIA report, approval of the May 6, 2024 board meeting minutes, approval of the April 2024 IDOT motor fuel tax allotment in the amount of $68,561.24, presentation and approval of the May 13th, 2024 committee meeting minutes, and approval for the Knights of Columbus to hold their annual Tootsie Roll Drive on September 20th and 21st, 2024. A certificate of insurance and a hold harmless agreement will be provided. And that is all I had, Mayor.
Okay. Thank you. We'll go to our attorney's report. We have Mike Kanker with this. Mike?
No report, sir.
Okay. We'll go to the engineer's report. Mr. Frater, you've got the engineer's report?
Yeah, Jeff provided some updates on projects. First one's the 116th Place, 117th Street Water Main Replacement Project, Joel Estacolin. The contractor Aries has stated they intend to start construction first week of June. All residents have been notified with letters of the upcoming construction. Second updates for Costner Avenue resurfacing, 123rd to 127th. Iroquois Paving is supposed to come in tomorrow to do the surface, pending on weather, and then soon after the striping would remain. Project is likely to wrap up within the next couple of weeks. And then third was the Alsip bicycle pedestrian plan. Walking tour is scheduled for June 5th and will cover the east side of the village. Meet at 5:30 p.m. at the library. Signs were also placed around the village with links to surveys and upcoming events related to the study. Resident participation is encouraged. And that's all.
Very good. Thanks, Mike. Next, we have our public forum. Did anyone in the audience wish to address the board tonight? How about we got the Esparza kids are in the house tonight. We got Alex and Mia. Mia, you got something you want to get off your mind? No? Okay. Just checking. Thank you. So we'll go on to our standing committee reports. We'll start with Finance and IT. Trustee McLaughlin.
Thank you, Mayor. First, I have a request for approval of a list of payroll dated May 17th, 2024, totaling $560,571.90. Next, I have a request for approval of a list of accounts payable dated May 20th of 2024. From the recap, General Fund, $286,006.84. Road and Bridge, $12,240.12. MFT, $299.34. Pulaski TIF, $2,997.50. 2015 and 2017 bond payments, $141,275 even. liability and workers' comp, $104,960. Health insurance, $344,569.53. Water and sewer, $1,659,834.42. Sanitary sewers, $3,286.06. Heritage complexes, $150,416.46. And retiree health insurance, $54,508.94, for a grand total all funds of $2,760,394.21. Then next, I have a request for approval for a PTAB settlement of the subject property located at 3210 West 131st Street from a fair market value of $5,086,878, utilizing the 25% level of assessment to pay $1,268,880, to now have a fair market value of $3.9 million and be assessed at a rate of $975,000 annually. The petitioner had requested a fair market value of $3 million, being assessed at $750,000. School districts 130 and 218 have already agreed to this settlement. And then finally, request to approve the hiring of one summer helper to be assigned to the finance department for 14 weeks at $15 an hour. And that's all I have under finance this evening, Mayor.
All right, thank you. Next, we have the Fire Committee report. Trustee Murphy.
Thank you, Mayor. I have the approval to pay out unused floating holiday and vacation time to firefighter paramedic Jason Pavlak. Jason has been off on injury since 2023. The amount of the payout is $9,614.40. Next, I have the approval of the April 2024 Fire Prevention Bureau report. Next is the approval of the April 2024 National Fire Incident Reporting Systems. And finally, I have the Alsip Fire Department would like to thank Mike McNellis with M&M Cleaning for donating 4 sets of PET oxygen masks for our fire apparatus. These devices will allow us to provide oxygen to pets that have smoke inhalation. And that's all I have, sir.
All right, thank you.
Mayor, did you ever check on number 1 as far as if that's appropriate or not?
If say it again, with the payout?
Yes.
I spoke to the chief this morning, and Chief, go ahead. If you
It's
want to
in the
reiterate what
contract.
we were talking about?
Yeah, it's on page 33 of the contract, section 3, letter D. And we did the same thing last year to the same firefighter.
So last year, I looked at that, and when you said, and last year, we actually paid out one floater and 1 holiday. Now,
Yeah.
again, the way I'm reading this, like the way it's read in the contract, it says that if you're disabled on duty, you can take your vacation at a later date, even if it means overtime, because typically those dates shouldn't cause overtime. It says you can, but if it says if you're unable to take those dates, it could be paid out and stuff then too.
Correct. And usually after May 1st is when we pay it out. If they can take it before May 1st, if they come back, that's one thing. And then when he was injured, it was in January, so he used most of his vacation time up prior to that, to last year.
Well,
So
that's
you
what
said he was injured in January of 2023?
Yes.
Do we happen to have a record of how many hours he was actually paid for between May 1 and April 30th?
Well,
Because I'm just thinking, as somebody who's done payroll for a living, the standard practice is when somebody is out, they are getting paid off for the full number of hours, which isn't necessarily the number of hours they would have worked. It's the full hours that they would have earned over the course of the year, inclusive of vacation time and holiday time. So if he was out for the entire year, it feels like he's already been paid for these hours, and this would be double dipping.
so when we paid him out last time, this particular employee is good for like 7 vacation days and like 3 floating holidays, okay? And when he got injured back in '23, when it came to the end of, let's say, fiscal year '23, I saw the summary report
You
today.
say 1 and 1 or whatever, but again,
Yeah.
that was an injury. I mean, he had already worked a majority or over half of that particular fiscal year, and it's okay, he didn't get to use up all of his days before coming back.
Well, that's what I'm
But
saying.
in this case, he's been out the entire fiscal year, so he wouldn't be entitled to anything.
Well, as an active employee, you're correct. I'm reading it the same way, Chief. If you're an active employee, you got hurt on the job, and you couldn't finish up your vacations, you take them at a later date, or get paid out, and that's what you did. You asked for 2 days' pay, because he was active.
For last
But
year,
now,
yeah.
if somebody is inactive, like this firefighter is right now, and let's say they've been paid a full year's salary, let's say, like, whatever, for round numbers, call it $100,000. And and that's the question I asked you this morning, was why would we take it further than that for vacation time? In other words, why, like, this payout is $9,600, why would we take it further than that if those days off are supposed to be in that same window?
Right. That I cannot answer, because since I've been here, I've never had anybody off a whole fiscal year.
Right.
This is new for us. I know it's in the contract. I know if we do not pay them out, they'll file a grievance and whatever comes out of that.
But he's already received his complete salary.
Yes.
So he's already been paid for these
He's already
days.
been paid for all these dates. This is time in addition. So normally, a person gets
I get it.
100,000.
I-
Why would a person all of a sudden receive a financial boom of another 10G?
I cannot answer that.
You're already making 100% of your salary,
No.
which is inclusive of your benefit hours. It
Right.
doesn't make
I
sense.
totally get it,
So
but
where is this person hurt by not getting this?
we've always paid out whatever vacation days were not used. We've never had somebody off for a whole fiscal
But
year.
they've received pay.
I understand
Would have
that.
had they taken vacation.
I know that.
So call it whatever you want, they've already received that compensation.
If I may.
Please.
Yes, and I hate to discuss legal opinions at a meeting, but there's a case to be made under PETA. There's an arbitration case to be made that because, the verbiage, there shall be no reduction, continue to pay, blah, blah, that he could make the case that you could allow him to roll over the vacation time that's attributed, for that period of time that's attributable to PETA.
Right.
As far as the part that extends past the PETA, your average weekly wage for purposes of TTD is based upon your 52 weeks pay for the beginning the day prior to your injury. TTD includes vacation pay.
Right.
So I don't think it's debatable now whether it's cheaper to pay him out for the PETA portion of that, because if you have to pay someone time and a half to replace them, that's another question. But as far as, and again, I don't know what it says about this particular thing in the contract, but as far as vacation and the floating holidays and vacation, under workers' comp, he's been paid for that.
Right.
But it's different. I brought the case with me, actually, to the arbitration case on PETA. But the stuff outside, but again, they just allowed them to roll it over because they couldn't use it. So you could almost say you should prorate, because I think, half the year he was on roughly PETA or,
Whole year.
a year, but that was the last fiscal year.
Right.
So he got a payout of his unused time on April.
Correct.
On
May
May
of
of last
2020.
year.
Same last
Yeah.
year, right.
So I think PETA stopped in January of this year.
Right.
So you can make the argument that, he's already been paid for that portion of his vacation time and floating holidays from January 1st through April 30th of this year. Does that make sense?
Right.
Yeah. And again, I don't know if you have to pay, because then, if you pay him out, then he's making $9,000 more
Right.
than he would have received if he worked.
Right.
And again, whether it's cheaper to pay him out at 100% for the PETA time as opposed to letting them bank it and roll it over, and then you got to pay someone overtime to come in. But I don't know if that would be the case.
Well, we've already paid that overtime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've
The
already
shifts
put-
had to be covered.
Right. Well, no, but in the future,
Oh,
if you let him roll it over,
Right.
then he's going to have 2 more days in his bank that he wouldn't have had if it was use it or lose it.
But I think the general feeling, though, is that he's already been paid for those days. I mean, it's not that it wasn't use it or lose it. He got paid for them.
I understand that, but I'm just telling you, there's an arbitration case that, for the PETA portion, that says otherwise, or arguably says otherwise. But once you're on comp, though, I think your TTD includes your vacation pay, your floating holidays, and all of that thing. So,
Yeah, and not looking for any malice towards the individual,
Yeah, no,
not looking to diminish his earnings. He's made all the money. He's not been harmed at all.
Well, as the chief said, and I did have HR look into this too, was that fortunately, we haven't had a case like this in some time that we could find.
Never that
that
we
we
know
had
of.
an employee that was off for more than a year. So this is kind of a rarity. That's why this
Yes.
discussion's happening. The last one was a fire lieutenant that was off for approximately 10 months, and when he came back, he immediately took all of his time off before the end of the fiscal year. So it was fortunate to find the time, as the contract alludes to. In this case, as we're all talking about here, this particular person was paid, 52 full weeks, and, your vacation and holiday pay is rolled into those 52 weeks, so it's been covered. As Mike said, there could be a case made if they wish to challenge that, to roll that over and still give you the comp time for it, not comp time, but, roll, because it was on PETA pay, there could be a case made for that. But on the other is, should the board decide that it's improper to, accelerate the pay by $9,600 on top of what the person's already been paid for the whole year, that would be the choice of the board to vote on this evening. 'Cause I agree. You're accelerating the pay. In some respect, you're basically leapfrogging senior personnel, too, as far as earnings. And you're an inactive employee. So,
I'm just a messenger, that's all I can tell you, because we've never had to go through this.
We should murder the messenger.
but you make a great point to say that, and again, that's the way this has always been. This is why we put in for vacation time. This is why we put in for floating holidays and everything else, is within the same 52 weeks, and it does say you're supposed to use this by the fiscal year. As an active employee, if you came up a little short, that's different, but an inactive employee who's been covered for the whole thing is a different situation.
What I would suggest is, if the way I think it's going to go, it'd probably be a letter from HR to that firefighter would be appropriate, explaining that.
Yeah, absolutely. No, done. Not a problem there.
Yep.
So it would be, trustee, it's your committee. Do you want
We
to
would
pull
pull
it?
it.
Yeah. So that would be,
Number 1,
Item
letter K.
letter K is in Keith, right. Okay. Anything else, trustee Murphy?
No, sir, that's all.
All right. We'll go to the police and traffic safety, trustee Dalzell.
Nothing for this evening, Mayor, thank you.
Trustee, the police department did they did a great job this past Friday with a cop on a rooftop, and I'll ask the chief to get you a full report for our next meeting to report on that then, too. Did a real nice job. Next, we'll go to our Public Work and Boat Launch Committee.
Thank you, Mayor. I have the approval of the April 2024 Public Works Department Monthly Activity Report. Next, I have the approval of the Public Works and Water Department be awarded new uniform company Vestis effective July 2024. And next, I have the approval of the engineering agreement with Robinson Engineering LTD for engineering, design, and construction engineering services associated with the Alsip fiscal year 2025 roadway maintenance program. Services will be invoiced at a rate of 5% of the awarded construction contract amount for engineering design and 6% of the final construction costs for construction engineering. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have the sewer and water report. Trustee Nava Esparza.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a request for the approval to advertise a job description for the position of Water Commissioner, as the current Commissioner has given notice of retirement effective on 9/30/2024. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Next, we'll go to the Building and Health Report Committee.
Dalzell or McLaughlin.
No report this evening.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have the Human Resource and Insurance Report. Trustee Murphy.
Nothing to report tonight, sir.
Okay. Special Committee Reports, Economic Development. Trustee Nava Esparza.
No report, Mayor.
Okay. Thank you. Then we'll go to Village Properties. Trustee McLaughlin.
Okay, on the agenda for this evening, we have a request for approval of a one-year extension for property management by HRE Property Management for the Heritage Complexes. This time, I would like to table that discussion until the committee meeting on June 10th, just in order to have more time to gather some financial background information on the whole scenario.
Understood. That was letter O.
Yes, letter L.
Understood. I'm Trustee McLaughlin called me earlier, and she wants we want more data on what with regard to financials with HRE, what HRE is expensing versus the village, and I'm working on that right now. What do I have next here? We'll go to the Ordinance and Legislation Committee.
No report, Mayor.
Okay. And we'll go to Planning and Zoning and Licenses Committee.
I have a request for approval of a list of licenses in review dated April 29th, 2024 through May 3rd of 2024. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Did anyone have any presentations, petitions, or communications they want to share? I want to let everybody know I'll be at the Memorial Day commemoration this coming Monday, May 27th at noon at the VFW Post 450 at 1800 South Cicero Avenue. Again, we certainly make this a memorable day, hence the word Memorial Day, but it's a nice event at the VFW Post 450. If you're available, please join us.
And what time was that, Mayor?
Noon.
No. Thank you.
And then also I had something that came in, must have been stuck in the mail, but something came in today from CEDA, that's the Community and Economic Development Association of Cook County. This year, the 2024 Community Services Block Grant Program provides financial assistance for income-eligible students enrolled in post-secondary educational programs, in other words, degree programs. The Community and Economic Development Association of Cook County, CEDA, is currently accepting applications for the fall semester quarter. Students enrolled full-time in an Illinois college or university by September 15th may qualify for a scholarship. Recipients must have a primary residence in suburban Cook County and meet established income guidelines. Scholarships range from $500 to $3,000 for payment of tuition, books, uniforms, and fees related to course study. Applications must be received by CEDA in Harvey, Illinois by 5 p.m. on Friday, June 14th, and I will certainly have this posted on our village website, Facebook, and in the hallway here too, if anyone's interested in looking at this criteria for qualifying. And then that's all I had for this evening. So did anyone wish to remove anything from the consent agenda?
Letter A.
A, okay. Anybody else? Can I get a motion then to establish the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call number 1 to establish consent agenda, trustee Dalzell.
Yes.
Trustee Juarez Mendoza is absent. Trustee McLaughlin.
Yes.
Trustee Murphy.
Yes.
Trustee Navas Barza.
Yes.
Trustee Peretta is absent. Motion carries to establish consent agenda.
Thank you. Can I get a motion then to approve the consent agenda as presented?
I will make that motion, but just for clarity, Madam Clerk, to make sure that K and L, or
Yes.
K and O
I have
are out
removed
there.
them.
Okay, thank you. Then I will make that motion.
Second.
All right. Roll call number 2 to approve consent agenda, trustee Dalzell.
Yes.
Trustee Juarez Mendoza is absent. Trustee McLaughlin.
Yes.
Trustee Murphy.
Yes.
Trustee Navas Barza.
Yes.
Trustee Peretta is absent. Motion carries to approve consent agenda.
All right, thank you. We'll go back to letter A that was removed, and this is the approval of an ordinance granting a special use permit to allow the use of an operation of a beer garden for a proportion of the property located at 11525 South Pulaski in Alsip. Before I take any questions, was there a motion to approve this as it's written?
I'll make the motion.
Okay.
Second.
Second? Thank you. Trustee McLaughlin, you had pulled this. Did you have a question before we voted?
No,
on
Mayor,
this?
just, we wanted a separate vote.
Okay. Madam Clerk, can you call the roll then, please?
All right. Roll call number 3 to approve item A, trustee Dalzell.
No.
Trustee Juarez Mendoza is absent. Trustee McLaughlin.
No.
Trustee Murphy.
Yes.
Trustee Navas Barza.
Yes.
Trustee Peretta is absent. Mayor Ryan.
Yes.
Motion carries to approve item
Doesn't
A.
pass, so you need 4 to do an ordinance.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, so you can vote, but it's 3-2.
Right.
Or no, it's 3-2, yeah, so it doesn't pass.
So, Mike, we'll have to,
Well, it doesn't
it
pass.
just doesn't pass at this
Right.
time. Right, okay. All right. So certainly with the 3-2 vote, but because it is an ordinance, you need 4 votes to pass that, so we'll have to bring this up another time when we've got more trustees in the room and stuff then, too. So, to the petitioner, please be patient with that, and we'll look forward to another meeting. We'll bring that up again. Okay?
Can I get a date as to the next meeting?
Be the first Monday in June. I'm off the top of my head, is that 6th?
The third.
Third.
Okay, 3rd. Okay, okay. Did anybody have any unfinished business? Any new business? Then can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Time now is 8:05 PM, and we'll adjourn this meeting. Thank you for being with us tonight.